Greetings and salutations. Welcome to another edition of Weird World Weekly, a production of GalacticNetcasts.com. I'm Dave Nelson, and joining me, as always, on every single episode we've done so far, he hasn't missed a single one. It's Matt Stein. Hello, Matt.
Hi? Should I call in sick next time? Is that where this is going? He's always here. He won't stop showing up.
No, I want you here. I'm not trying to say that I don't want you here. I picked you for a reason, my co-host.
Are we having our first on-camera fight?
Yes, we are.
You know, I feel like we're moving too fast.
You're wrong. Shut up.
I'm almost out of coffee.
Everybody, welcome to the show, the podcast where we talk about weird, odd, strange, unusual, unexplained things in the realms of paranormal, mythological, conspiratorial, or anything else that fits in the weird, unusual, unexplained, strange categories. And we talk about whatever we talk about in 15 minutes or less. So in and out, bam, you're off to the next thing. We don't waste your time. We don't waste time. We get right down to it, right, Matt?
I feel like that's a bold-faced lie because I waste a lot of time talking about us fighting and other random crap.
Well, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's not very much time because we use the lion's share of the episode to talk about what we're going to talk about. And what could we be talking about on this episode? Give us the choices, Matt.
Well, we could be talking about things that fall into a paranormal, mythological.
But wait. What are the stories that we might be picking from?
The actual stories. Okay. The stories that we might be doing this week are going to be mysteries from the Emerald Isle, loud booms in North Carolina, followed by massive fish kill.
Ugh.
Yeah. Reminds me of South Park. Documents from whistleblowers shows that the CIA was responsible for the 2001 anthrax attacks.
What?
Or movie sets that come with a ghost.
Okay, so let's find out what we're gonna which one of those stories that we'll be talking about, and they're all on this big ass wheel that we spin, and what it lands on, that's the story that we talk about. So Matthew, I believe it's your turn to spin the wheel, so go ahead.
Do it.
All right, here we go. All right. What could we be talking about? And it looks like, all right. I was hoping it would land on this one. Loud booms in North Carolina followed by massive fish kill. Now, on a previous episode, we talked about those really eerie, trumpety sounding sounds from the sky. Remember that one?
Yeah, I do. That was actually one of my favorite episodes.
Oh, hang on. I forgot to set the timer.
Oh, can't have that.
So the 15 minutes starts from right now. Okay. Now go ahead. Continue what you were saying.
Oh, that was one of my favorite episodes because it was something very different. Unfortunately, I feel like we were able to figure out what it likely is, but I still liked it.
But still, it's an open book. We don't know for sure what it was, and this is a different thing. This came out. These things started happening, I think, late last year, early this year. Loud booms along the Atlantic coast, on both sides of the Atlantic, in the States and Canada, and also in Europe. These loud booms that they have no idea. Like, they were happening like in London. People heard these loud booms. They're like, what the hell is going on? And there's no official explanation for them. And the latest one happened on March 16th. That's the day before St. Patrick's Day. So maybe somebody was...
It's also Stone Cold Steve Austin Day. Just saying.
Okay. So maybe it was him laying down his awesomeness somewhere.
Or giving the Earth a Stone Cold Stunner.
I don't know what's the Stone Cold Stunner.
That was his finishing move in wrestling. All wrestlers have like finishing moves. His was the Stunner.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's another possibility, of course. Yeah, loud booms. They were heard and felt by people living along the U.S. Atlantic coast from North Carolina to Delaware. So that's a big swath of territory right there. So less than 24 hours later, thousands of dead fish began washing up on the beaches of the Outer Banks of North Carolina. Bunch of fish just washing up out of nowhere. The U.S. Geological Survey, which detected no earthquake activity at either of those times, and they admit that they are at a loss to explain the booms. So while there were some offshore weather activity, any thunder would not have been felt all the way to Delaware. There were no reports of any military aircraft activities and related sonic booms from the nearby Harvey Point Defense Testing Activity Facility in Hertford, North Carolina. No explanation, no responsibility until the fish started dying. Now, I got this. This article's kind of worded weirdly because it comes from like a conspiracy type website. So they're like, oh, of course they don't know what actually happened.
I feel like this could have been a bomb or some sort of explosion. And the reason when you mentioned this in the list reminded me of South Park is because there's an episode where they go fishing and they use grenades instead of like a fishing line and pole.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they completely leave out any sort of potential, in at least from the story, that someone may have gone fishing with grenades or bombs, or there was, a boat that sank somewhere and there was some sort of explosive on it and it blew up after, for whatever reason, seems a little ridiculous to me because that seems like the most logical explanation to me.
But also you have to remember the fact that this boom was heard from Delaware to South Carolina. That's thousands of miles.
Shut up, Dave.
So it's got to be, if we continue along your lines of explanation, that would be one big ass explosion. Like that would be a nuclear bomb size explosion.
And who's to say that there wasn't some sort of underwater nuclear bomb testing?
Oh, you might be onto something.
I mean, that seems, or at least a bomb of that magnitude, a very large underwater bomb, that they maybe were like, hey, if we blow it up underwater, no one will hear it. Because they thought the ocean would just suppress all the sound.
The Russians are being all Russian-y again. They're all being like...
Just drinking vodka and eating potatoes?
No, they're being very Cold War-ish like they used to be before the Soviet Union fell. Putin's being an ass. He basically wants the Ukraine for himself, and then he's setting his sights on other areas of Europe as well. So, maybe it's the Russian army or the Russian military, their navy. Maybe they're exploding. Maybe they want us. Maybe this is all psychological. Maybe they're playing with our heads.
That's possible, but how do you kill a bunch of fish if it's not? Well, I guess.
Well, no. They could still be setting off these explosions just to mess with us.
No, that's true. That's kind of why I stopped, because that's possible. But they're not actually. They're not trying to harm anyone. They're just blowing stuff up underwater to screw with people and get everyone paranoid.
Except the poor fishes.
Who cares about the fish?
They're dead.
Who cares about the fish?
The day after the booms, people rely on fish for their livelihood, Matthew. Think of the people that eat the fish. So the day after, there were reports of thousands of dead fish and a dead dolphin washing up on beaches in Corolla, North Carolina, on the northern Outer Banks. The area of beach covered with dead fish eventually reached 3 miles in length. 3 miles of dead fish washing up. That's got to smell. That's got to be one bad stench.
I'm sure it didn't stink at first, but when they start to decompose, you're going to have some stink problems.
Let's talk about other possibilities for this explosion. Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about U.S. government. Maybe
The U.S. government would never do anything shady, Dave. I don't know who you think you're talking about, but the American government is great,
you said
and they
shady,
tell the truth all the time.
right?
Yeah, I said shady. I did not swear bears today.
So maybe they're experimenting with something. Maybe they're experimenting with time manipulation. Maybe this is another. What was that ship back in the 40s? That words and stuff.
I don't
That
ship in
time
the 40s.
that time travel experiment that we talked about on a previous episode. They made it into a movie.
The time traveler's wife. uh,
Correct, sir. But anyways, maybe time manipulation, dimensional travel, aliens possibly. You think the aliens are involved?
well, what time of the day did it say that the booms happened? Middle of the night, middle of the day?
It does not say on this article. In this article, does not say give a time.
Okay, so if you assume that this happened in the middle of the night, maybe aliens crash landed into the ocean.
Oh yeah.
But then I feel like if their spaceship crash landed into the ocean, you would have to account for a lack of tidal waves. So you figure something that big hitting the water that fast would send a wave on top of killing the fish, unless they have perfectly aerodynamically built ships that it created minimal splash when it hit the water, which then now that's too far fetched.
Getting a high score in the Olympics, right? Because
yeah. Yeah. Next Summer Olympics, they're going to have the aliens, and no one's going to be able to touch their minimal splash.
So okay, maybe the initial explosion was the sonic boom from the alien spacecraft, and then the fish washing up on the shore, that was from the ship actually entering the ocean in that area. So that's why there was no fish kill in any other part of that Atlantic coastline where that boom was reported, right? That makes kind of sense a little bit.
Yeah, kind of makes sense.
Okay. I think we solved it. Aliens.
All the time.
Hey, we actually have a podcast all about aliens, the alien invasion, on the Galactic Netcast Network. You can go to galacticnetcasts.com and find out all about that podcast and listen to a few episodes if you'd like.
Do you think that maybe the aliens would bring some recipes for ground turkey with them? Still looking.
Yeah, possibly. They might contain. You might have to substitute whatever weird meat they have for
ground turkey. They have intergalactic turkey balls.
Sure.
There we go. Okay. I, for one, welcome our ant overlords.
So if you aliens, if you have a great turkey, what was it again?
Just ground turkey, ground chicken, recipes in general. I like recipes.
Okay, so galacticnetcasts.com. That's the website. Go there. And we've got this really cool new feature where you can record a message for us. So go to the website. There'll be a little tab that pops up the very right-hand side of the screen. You click on that. You can record your message through your browser or through your mobile device. And you can also call our voicemail number, 805-328-3966, or email galacticnetcasts.com. One more thing I want to mention real briefly is the Galactic Collective. Now, that's kind of the umbrella for all of our social media, our social network places on the internet. And what it is, you just go to our website again, galacticnetcasts.com, and click on Join the Galactic Collective. And you become part of a bigger organization within our listeners. There's 3 levels. There is the first one, I forget the names. They all have names. And the first one, you just follow us on Facebook and Twitter and Google+, and you get updates on what we're doing. We have news that we push out. The next one is the Facebook group, and that is kind of a more interactive way. You can interact with other listeners. You can interact with hosts of our podcasts, suggest ideas. You can share stories, that kind of thing. That's through the Facebook group. The third level is the Galactic Council that you can give as little as $1 a month to Patreon, and you become like a decision maker for the network, and you can actually become a guest on one of our podcasts. So join the Galactic Collective today by going to galacticnetcasts.com. Any questions, Matthew?
No, not today.
Okay. You sure?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you think we covered everything?
adequately and
Okay.
metaphysically.
That's a throwback to our last episode.
It is.
Yeah. Okay. Please leave us a favorable review on iTunes. If you get our podcast through iTunes, leave us 5 stars and a favorable review. You can also give us a review at Stitcher. We're on there as well. And TuneIn Radio or any other podcast app. We're on all of them pretty much. What else? Oh, YouTube channel, youtube.com/galacticnetcast. Watch the show.
Yeah, in case you want to see how stupid we look when we do these things. At least me. Dave's not too bad to look at, but.
All right, Matt. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Weird World Weekly. Until next time, what do you want to do?
Stay weird, Dave.
All right, you stay weird, my friend.
Always weird.
All right, and that's it.
Holy shit, Hammerhead.